with the shocking thing that has happened during this particular book launch and the so many reactions that has been following it, where some people are saying that they review secrets on the book, which I said no, that those things that are contained in those books are no secret at all, because this is actually what people are already aware of. In fact, that book is a confession, or should I say an acknowledgement to what people are already aware of, and I'll prove it in this video for you. Now, we'll also show you how disgusting people have started that gathering. First of all, let me start by showing you some of the people who has talked about some of the things that was said in that book, but of course, nobody believed them. Let's listen to first Odimegwu Ojukwu himself, where he talked about the 1966 coup, and he said it very clear that it is never an Igbo coup. In fact, he said that Igbos halted that coup. Listen to him, and I'll be back.
Now let's get it straight. The young officers had within Igbos, Yorubas, and Hausas. The way the Nigerian army was structured, you could not escape a preponderance of Igbo officers. And these were at the middle level because they were essentially majors. By then I was a lieutenant colonel, so I wasn't part of it. I was then commanding a battalion in Kano. The coup ostensibly, because I've later found out that the whole aim of the coup was to halt this apparent drift in Nigeria. But significantly, you know what they wanted to do? To create a presidential commission of army officers as a safeguard to the people who would guard the nation and hand over government to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. The idea was to release him from prison, make him prime minister, and in the hope that Nigeria would become a better place. That is actually how.
So it was really the Yorubas and their leader that were going to benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
From the coup, not the insinuation that it was an Igbo coup.
No, certainly not.
Okay.
Certainly.
Your Excellency, we have
and not only that, and I think because a lot of things have been said about this.
Yes.
Who actually halted the coup? Agoye Ironsi in Lagos, an Igbo. Emeka Odimegwu Ojukwu in Kano, an Igbo. The Igbos halted the coup. How can it be at the same time an Igbo coup halted by Igbos? There's something odd about that.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
You get the point, but you never finish, you. Let me also show you what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said long time ago. Listen to it.
Did Ojukwu cause any war? Gowon is alive, go and ask him. Did Ojukwu cause any war? Ojukwu went and negotiated restructuring with you. In Aburi. You came back, Britain told you not to agree because Britain realized that all the component units of Britain knows that if you go back to regionalism, you will have economic growth. The country will do very well. But Britain doesn't want it. That was why they even instigated the Nzogwu coup, so-called Nzogwu coup, saying they will bring Awolowo to become the head of state. They knew what was going to happen. They wanted to truncate the economic miracle of Dr. Michael. But what I'm telling you are fast. Go and investigate for yourself. In the East, you had the fastest growing economy in the whole world, over 40% every year. In the West, Awolowo was performing his own miracle as well. Even in the North, Ahmadu Bello and Tafawa Balewa were doing very well. You had all those massive industries in the North. You even had Alamajiris that were employed in the North, meaningfully employed, gainfully employed. They were all doing very well. Britain said, no, for us to control these people, we need to impoverish them. Let us introduce this war. There was a coup by Nzogwu. And after that, there was the massacre of, as usual, massacre of our people in the North. Ojukwu said, I have to secure my land and my people. They said, no, let's go to Aburi to discuss it. Ojukwu went to Aburi and agreed restructuring. That's something now you're asking for. To tell you how foolish Nigerians are. They're very foolish. That same nonsense you're asking for now was discussed many years ago. Ojukwu sat down in Aburi with Gowon and decided that regionalism was the best way forward, restructuring, going back to who you were, 1963 Constitution, 1963 Constitution. Be on your own and pay tax to the central government, as they have in America, as they have even in Britain. Britain, you have Scotland that is almost independent, Wales, the same thing, everybody is free, but Britain doesn't want the same thing they're enjoying to happen in Nigeria. Why? Ask yourself that question.
Confirm. Now, did anybody believe them? You already know the answer, but nevertheless, let me also show you another video from Dr. Paul Apoki, where he reacted to that book launch and also where he told a little story of what happened during the June 12, 1993 election. But as you are watching it, be clicking on that share button and also subscribe in case if you have never done so for more updates. And after that, I'll be back. Let's go there.
I want to talk about Ibrahim Babangida's book launch and a gathering of houseflies and maggots. I did a video before now about houseflies and maggots, political houseflies and maggots, social houseflies and maggots. I told you that maggots and houseflies, it is houseflies, maggots at the larval stage of houseflies. They feed on decayed and rotting materials and fecal material. They don't have shame. They can be, houseflies can perch on your ulcer and be eating it in your very presence. But houseflies and maggots transmit diseases and they are very nauseating. After 32 years, Babangida finally confirmed that MKO Abiola won the June 12 elections. He regretted annulling the elections. He said he would have done things differently if he had a second chance. And there was a subtle attempt to blame Sani Abacha, a dead man, for the annulment of June 12 elections. Apparently, he was trying to say he was under pressure. It was a very pathetic sight, however. Pa Ayo Adebanjo and Pa Ike Clark died in their late 90s. They were looking very healthy, looking very strong. But Babangida, not up to 90, was looking very pathetic. He looks frail, and he aptly represents the futility of power, futility of riches, futility of dictatorship. He looked so vulnerable, particularly when the people that were driven into exile, one of them, Senator Bola Tinubu, then is now the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Now, I remember that before he stepped aside, now I was already a medical doctor, so I know what I'm talking about. Before he stepped aside, he said that the future of the country was in their hands. But he did not realize that he himself is in the hands of God. Apart from money and properties, what did Babangida really gain from power? He lost his beautiful wife. Look at him there. I saw his son behind him. Look at him. Is he proud of this country? Is he having the best of this country? His state, Niger State, a great percentage of it has been taken over by bandits. Niger State, that Peter Obi says can feed the whole of Nigeria, has been overrun by bandits, several local government areas. I remember in those days when we used to drive from Abuja to Mina with his house up the hill and all that. You can't drive that road at night again between Abuja and Mina. I remember I passed that road midnight, 1 a.m. Today, the country that he had an opportunity to give the right direction to is a shadow of itself. What did Babangida really gain from power? He executed some of his best friends, including Mama Vasta, that the whole world pleaded for. He cowardly nullified the fairest and most credible election in the history of this country. Cowardly. He had an opportunity to make history. He messed it up. Abiola was a very good friend of his, but he died in detention because of his mandate that he won. June 12 election that he won. I remember what he took us to vote that time. Babangida set the nation backwards very many years backwards. And some other people in that room where they were gathered helped to set us further backwards. And I know the lives that were lost during the June 12 protests. I know how many government properties were burnt during June 12 protests. I know how much Babangida spent in building SDP secretariat and NRC secretariats for the parties. 2 buildings each, all over the country. All over the country. The one in Ughelli, one is in the GRA, one is in along the Ughelli Patani Road. Some of them are wasting all over the country. 774 times 2 secretariats, and then you nullify the elections. These people don't have value for this nation. They don't have value for the electoral process. They don't have value for laws. That is treasonable. In decent societies, he should have been in prison. He was, the book, I've not seen it, but the reviewer said that the results, the summary of the results was an appendix in the back of the book. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to achieve? You had an opportunity to put this nation aright. Now, lives were lost. Abiola died. Properties were destroyed. He started the structural adjustment program that gradually led to the devaluation of our naira to where we are now. That stupidity was built upon by others, and we are where we are today. I don't want to think that it was a regional agenda that did not want Abiola to become president, just as a regional agenda and an oligarchic agenda happened in 2023 elections. We will come to that. So, for me, he described himself as an evil genius, but God outsmarted him. Now, that gathering of the so-called who is who in Nigeria is a gathering of those who failed to take the right decisions to set this nation on the right path. People like Gowon and a host of others, they had opportunities to set this nation. Look at Malaysia, look at Singapore, look at South Korea that we're giving money to. They've gone far, we're still wallowing in darkness. This is not public power supply, this is solar energy. So we're still wallowing in darkness, indicators of development very poor, and they sat down. When I talked about maggots and flies in one of the videos, I said they have no shame. Those people who gathered in that place have no shame. And it is so regrettable that when he said that he regretted annulling June 12 elections, that Abiola won the elections, when they clapped, it sounded like the wings of flies. You know, when you drive flies, you know, whoa. It was so nauseating, so annoying to see them clapping. What were they clapping for? Were they clapping for the death of Abiola? Were they clapping for the death of Kudirat? Were they clapping for the death, the incarceration of Kokori, Frank Kokori, that died and was given a shabby burial? Or are they clapping over the grave of Pa Enahoro? Or are they clapping because of the Nigerians whose businesses were destroyed. Abiola family never recovered from that electoral mishap. Are they clapping because of Nadeco people that ran overseas? What were they clapping for? Nigerians have a very low sense of value. Their value system is very poor. That's why I don't attend meetings. That's why I don't belong to associations. I don't belong to associations. From pastors to my medical colleagues to tribal meetings to all kinds of meetings, people with very low IQ, very, very perverted sense of decency, of justice. What were they clapping for? Like as somebody rightly said, a host of them, they should have been in prison. They should have served prison terms. In fact, that book is supposed to be supposed to be outlawed because you accepted criminality, you accepted evil. You see, that treasonable action, criminal and treasonable action, they were clapping. But you will just carry somebody who did a video, they will say he's capable of inciting and breach of peace, and you will carry the person and lock him up and put a bail bond of 1 million, 10 million on his head. You can bring a civil servant that has a house in Abuja, and this book now, is it not capable of causing a breach of the peace? What if the Yorubas started protesting that their son was unjustly jailed and killed in prison in an election that he won? They're clapping. People like me that you come after. I did a video that I don't respect any Nigerian that they wear masquerade. They wear masks. They are masquerades who can, like houseflies, who can eat excrement, who can dance on top of excrement, who can dance on top of carcass. We were dancing, they were clapping and rejoicing on the grave of Abiola, Kudirat, the wife, Kokori, Enahoro, and the death of democracy in this country. It is very offensive for those of you who are very young, and those of you who are criminals and beneficiaries of the rot. You will come here and talk nonsense. I know some of you who are tribal and religious bigots who have no value for the good of this nation. You will come here and talk nonsense. You are a mumu. Mumu. The applause was very sickening. Knowing what Babangida took us through. I remember vividly. I used to podcast from Lagos then. I remember vividly the trouble that this nation went through. Oh, he took us through hell. Now, I was 34 years old then. I know what we went through. My pain is that some years from now, when death will be staring at some of them who were present there, and some of them who were responsible for setting us backwards, some of them who rigged the 2023 elections. 2023 elections. Yes. Some of them who took bribe in the judiciary, some of them who carried ballot boxes, some of them who falsified results. When death will be staring them at the face, they also come and confess that the last elections, presidential elections, was won by Peter Obi. You change the rules. You change precedents. I've always said that those who benefited from this nation, who contributed to the rot of this nation, God will punish them. And we are seeing it. They will confess because time will judge them. The conscience Their consciences will haunt them to their graves. Those who refuse to confess to their criminality, to their injustice, and to their wickedness, they will never know peace. Never, never know peace. And they will stand before their God in judgment. Those who have kept us in this mess from the time of the Civil War till this time, they will never know peace. Never know peace. And any beneficiary of the wrath of this nation will not know peace. I was really nauseated, offended by what I saw in that book launch. We're stating our points because our grandchildren will watch this video and they will know I was not part of the wrath.
Anyways, I don't have much things to say again. Let me just allow you to share your thought with me on the comment section. And of course, you know the vibe now. Click on that subscribe button, follow, and share for more updates. Because like this, we move.